that out at that point and say, okay, well, if this ad reaches this level, then I'll go ahead and make, that kind of change. Okay. And then number 7 would be run one test at a time. So you don't want to, run a whole bunch of different challengers against, although it's tempting, against your sample, your base control, ad. You want to run each of these individually, and then you want to take the results from them. You don't also want to start running, challenges to the challenger. So you don't want 2 challengers now competing against each other to go against. Again, it's going to get too complicated, and it's going to be hard to remember what the original goals were. You want to do an A/B test, go through this entire process, get a result, and then if you feel like going through this entire process again, you do it again. But you don't want to run a whole bunch of tests at the same time. You want to individualize them and make sure that they get the kind of attention that is needed. All right. And then 8, you want to test at the same time. So you want your challenger and your control being tested at the same time frame. So as close as you can get. So that means, if it's Monday at 5 p.m., you want it to run on Monday at 5 p.m. You don't want a lot, you want them both to run. If that means you might have to do it like the next week at Monday at 5 p.m., not as good as if they can run together. Preferably, I would run something like 4:55 p.m. and then 5:05 p.m., Try as close as you can, with this little variable and see what happens. Because, again, you will be able to see the actual results and get a determinant because the time of day hasn't changed. The day hasn't. All these things play into your results, whether or not it's a weekend, whether or not it's a holiday, whether or not, it's the time of day, where people just happen to be up or working, these all play into it. So, being able to eliminate, this factor of time is very important. So by running them at the same time, you're going to be able to be, more successful in being able to determine the A/B test. And then number 9 is to give the test enough time. So if you run your test and you want to run it, so let's say you're trying to determine which ad is best. So you run it over an entire week's period of time at 4:55 to 5:05, something like that. Or you run it every month on every Monday, 4:55 at 5:05. But you're giving yourself enough time that it's not just a small sample. And that's what is hard to determine, obviously, how small of a sample is small. Leave it up to your own best judgment, but you want a decent sized sample because you don't want to just make assumptions off, one test on one day. You want to take that, especially if you see staggering results. So if you see something you're like, whoa, this challenger ad just destroyed my original control ad. Now you're going to say, okay, I want to just immediately switch things over. Take it, do the same thing the next day. See if it really does continue to destroy. Or again, it could just be the fact that it's a new ad. So it's something people haven't seen before, but once they see it for the second, the third, the fourth time, it starts to wane. And now your original control ad is starting to do better, meaning the control ad has more longevity. And that's something you might not be able to see if you just test one time. Because again, new things, especially if you have a new ad, people are going to be interested in it. So they're going to react well, and you're going to make an assumption that that's all the time. but it might not be. So you want to go ahead and give that A/B test enough time. And then number 10, ask feedback from your users, from your followers. People look at the comment sections. So if you're posting something and comments are on, look and see what people are saying about that content. Your users, your followers, they are going to give you the best feedback you can get on whether or not something is good or it's not good, especially if they are used to seeing specific content and now they see something different. They're going to give you feedback. So go ahead and observe their feedback and even ask for it if you need to. And then lastly, number 11, take action based on results. So you've gone through all of this effort to find whether or not your control ad or your challenger ad is the best one. Don't just sit on this information. Take that ad and put it out there. And don't stop testing either. Don't sit on your laurels in this ad. You find a good ad, you run it, and you give it some time, and you're seeing, is it holding up like it did during the A/B testing? As I mentioned a little earlier, the control could have better longevity. So you just want to make sure that this ad is holding its own. It's getting the same similar numbers. What's great about social media and most marketing these days is you can see the numbers, you can see the analytics, you can see the likes, you can see the impressions, you can see everything. So, keep in mind that you want to check back. And as I mentioned, you want to eventually start A/B testing again. So now you have a great ad and you want to go ahead and test that ad out against another challenger and another challenger and another one. And maybe one day another challenger will win and then it can become one of your main ads. And then also keep in mind that you can do this for particular days of the week. You can do this for particular times. So, looking to find the ad that works best at 9 a.m. as opposed to the one that works best at 10 p.m. You can test that as well. So, timing, especially through social media, super important. So finding that ad that does best at certain times is really important too. So, you can test at that time with the determination of trying to find an ad that will work best for you in a myriad of different ways. And also on specific platforms. Some ads and some images, some videos do much better on some platforms than others. So some channels are going to love some of your content, some are not. So I would definitely test on specific channels and try to find the best ads for that channel. All right, great. Well, that has been how to A/B test your OnlyFans promotions. Again, my name is Richard Lewis. I am the founder of OnlyFans Hero and an upcoming platform called Stripper.fan. You can find this podcast on Instagram at OnlyFans Secrets Podcast. You can also find us on Reddit at r/OnlyFans Secrets, which is a marketing community on there. You can find us on OnlyFans itself at onlyfans.com/OnlyFans Hero. Please subscribe and follow us for free on there for the latest updates on this podcast. We're also on TikTok at OF Secrets Podcast. And we, as always, are on Twitter, where we run a hourly promotion for OnlyFans creators at OnlyFans Hero. So please jump on there for that, continuing to grow by 500 plus followers a day, both creators and subscribers. And as always, you can reach out to me at OnlyFans Hero on Twitter. If you have any questions about this podcast, have any questions just in general about OnlyFans, or want to have a question included in our Sunday Secrets podcast episode, please, jump on and ask me any question that you like. And as always, if you find a place to leave a review for this podcast, I really appreciate it. Even in my own OnlyFans or Twitter, I just love hearing from you guys and getting your feedback. And as always, please continue to listen to this podcast. It means a lot to me. And please continue to subscribe and follow. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Morty, Morty, Morty.